Welcome, and thank you for tuning in for another episode with Everyday Stuff. In today's episode, we're going to dive into and discuss 3 ways to apply how much to and where and why to spray your fragrances. But before we get started today, if this is your first visit to this channel, please consider subscribing to enjoy future content, as well as tap the like button or leave a comment on this discussion. Also hit the notification bell so you will be alerted when new videos debut. Okay folks, fragrances are designed to be sprayed on the skin. That's what they make them for. For this reason, it allows for the scent to bond with your unique DNA to create an aroma that will most likely be different on you than another person. The locations on your person that allow for the greatest performance would be on your wrist, the inside of your wrist, back of your hands, on your neck, underneath your ears, your chest area, and also on the back of your neck. A part of that reason I'm just going to explain to you, like far as the back of your neck, it allows for people, and it allows for, here, and back of your neck to create this what they call a scent bubble, so people that may come into your space will smell it, as well as for yourself as well. These locations are ideal first and foremost for your personal enjoyment as the wearer. Also for the folks that you may greet and or walk by. These are considered hot areas where strong blood flow is, that helps push the scent moving forward. Often folks may avoid the back of their hands simply because you're washing your hands a lot potentially, or hand sanitizers, and that could potentially cause you to remove a good portion of the actual scent. And we want to try to do our best to, avoid that so you can enjoy it for the rest of the day. How much to spray can be a bit kind of tricky to determine. That is mostly due to the quality and performance of that fragrance that you own or that you use. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight and performances of the fragrances that you could potentially buy. So with that being said, I'm going to break it down like this. So when you go purchase a fragrance somewhere, you have them in the kind of different stages. The first stage will be a cologne, also known as an eau de cologne. And within this, it usually contains about 2 to 4% of the actual perfume oil. And that generally lasts you about 2 hours, where it will kind of go away. An example of that will be the house known as Jo Malone and the fragrance Wood Sage and Sea Salt. Also, now moving on, you also have a toilette. And this is what you most commonly run into probably in Macy's or Nordstrom's nowadays, but it's also considered an eau de toilette, where you'll see that on the actual box as well. This usually contains about 5 to 15% of the actual perfume oil, giving you about 3 hours or so, depending on how it could be more than that, could be less. It depends on how much the actual perfume oil, close to that 15% is there. And an example of that would be a very popular scent, Dior Sauvage. Now you have the next stage will be considered a perfume, but also known as an eau de parfum. And this is usually about 15 to 20% of the actual perfume oil is in the container, with the difference being alcohol. And this gives you about 5 to 8 hours of performance, meaning that the projection and how you and other people will smell it. An example of this would be YSL-Y, and with that's another wonderful fragrance that comes in that particular stage. Now, going to number 4 would be Parfum, and Parfum is the next level up. It usually has about 20 to 30% of the actual perfume oil in it. And this right here gives you about 10 plus hours off of just one single application. This is that one application that you put on first thing in the morning. Don't have to put no more on, and it's going to give you about 10 to 24 hours, perhaps. And a good example of this is by Raja Parfum Creation E. And I'm going to tell you about that one and this next one, which is, and this is the final one, number 5, is the Extrait de Parfum. Now this one here is usually about 30 to 40% of the actual perfume oil within the container, with the rest being alcohol. This is going to definitely give you somewhere about 12 or more hours off of one application. An example of this would be Nishan Age Hasibat. So with those last two, the Parfum and the Extrait de Parfum, you really want to be careful with that, because one spray could be enough for the whole day. When you start to do too much, it could potentially be off-putting or offensive to people around you, where people start kind of moving away from you because it's so strong. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit more. But here's another thing as it relates to those stages. As the percent of the perfume oil rises, so does the performance, meaning, and that means how long it's going to last with you, stay with you, whether before you have to re-up or not. But also can't leave out, that also relates to the cost. So, you know, some of them will be higher and more expensive as you go up in the quality of the fragrance. As that being said, you have the cost, and they come in different sizes, which would be a 50 ml, which is also 1.07 ounces. And then you have the 100 ml, which is roughly around 3.4 ounces. And then you have the ones in between that have the unique amounts. But these, when you start getting into the Extrait de Parfum and Parfum, you're talking about some fragrances that could be 300, 500, 800, and over $1,300 just for a single bottle. The lesser of the group, colognes may require multiple sprays. You might have to put several sprays on just so you can last in it. And sometimes it's okay because you just like it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. Now, when it comes to how much to apply, I'll start off and share this with you. A rule of thumb I'll just go with is 3 sprays, 5 sprays, or maybe 7 sprays. Now, the 7 sprays will typically apply to your colognes or your body sprays that aren't as potent, where you might want to overspray it. And maybe even later on in the day, as it kind of goes away, you might want to spray some more. When you move into the toilette and the eau de parfum, you might stick around maybe 5 or 4 sprays, depending on the quality of it and what you think. And then when you get to the parfum stage, you might want to move it up to maybe just 3 or just 1. It really just depends, and sometimes you really just got to test it out and get some feedback from people to determine what it is. And with that Extrait, if you do it, it can be so powerful that it can really fill up the room. And you know, some of those you just got to be really careful with and just, you know, give it a try. So when it comes to how to apply, I got about 3 ways that you can try. You have what I call the direct approach. And the direct approach is you just have your bottle and you just spray it on directly to where you want it to go. Then you have the subtle approach, where you'll just kind of just spray it in the air and just kind of walk into it and just let it just kind of land on you where you want it to go, so it won't be potentially super strong. And then you have the old school approach, where you spray it in your hand, go like this, wipe it on, probably over your hair, and then be about your day if you want to. So now we're coming to the close. I would like to ask you this. How do you apply your fragrances? Do you feel this video was helpful? Please consider leaving this in a comment and let's have a discussion about this. To wrap things up, well, folks, this concludes another episode with Everyday Stuff. Thank you for allowing me to bend your ears and fill your eyes with substance. If you haven't, please consider subscribing to this channel, leave a like or a comment on this discussion. Until we meet again.